Hey everyone, happy Thursday and welcome to another episode of Day in Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So, even though it was a Thursday, I was not here alone all day, and Rafa kindly came in for half a day. And so let's see what he did. So, Jacob is out on vacation right now. That's why he hasn't been around. So, that being the case, normally I would have been here by myself all day, but Mr. Rafa came in because you know what, guys? He's having so much fun. If you haven't got that impression already, he's having so much fun working on this barn door. And so today, I think he couldn't wait to do this. So he came in and started installing the Porsche 356B brakes on the back of this thing. And I mean, look at the size of that platter of a backing plate. These things are just massive. They're the outside diameter of the drum is like 13 millimeters. That's like several inches more than a stock bus drum. So they're just huge, massive things, and all the parts are just massive. You can see like the brake push rod bars are these huge, I don't know, like caster forged pieces. The arms here for the e-brake, just like massively thick pieces of metal and stuff. So you can tell these things are very serious, as you know, they went on a sports car, so it had to have really great braking performance and so on. So the parts are just huge compared to their respective parts off V-dub brakes. So kind of cool to see the difference. I mean, the parts kind of look the same, but yet they're completely different at the same time. I mean, this is the brake push bar, and you can see how reinforced it is versus just being like a stamped piece of sheet metal like the typical V-dub ones. This one's got the strengthening rib on it and just like a massive, heavy chunk of metal here. But anyway, so yeah, he came in and worked about half a day and started putting this together. So he got the backing plates on both sides and the axles all sealed up and stuff here, and then went ahead and installed the brake wheel cylinders on both sides, and kind of routed the emergency brake cables with their little clips and stuff. So yeah, made some really good progress here. So let's see the other side, because the other side is where the money shot that was today's thumbnail comes in. We couldn't wait. We just had to slip a drum on one of these things because holy smokes. I mean, look at this thing. And it's like a mirror. I mean, look at that. So our guys that do chrome and polishing are really good, and they just did a fantastic job in this. This thing is literally like a giant mirror. So yeah, there you go. 356B brakes, which are these massive finned puppies that you see here with all aluminum, the actual drum, and then there's a steel braking surface sort of like pressed in the inside of it for the actual braking. So yeah, just enormous and gorgeous, and these things are gonna pop right through the 356 16-inch wheels, because of course we're gonna run them with no hubcaps. So you'll see a good portion of this middle here, and then these fins you'll see through the D-shaped openings in the wheels all the way around. So these things are just going to be like blinging right through those wheels. So super excited about that. We did get some parts today. Again, we're collecting parts from all over the world for this thing, so it did not have the correct dome lights. I don't know, they're around here somewhere. One of them came in. We still got one more to go that's hopefully on its way. So yeah, collecting parts here. I don't know. Oh, there it is. It's in a bag. I'm not going to get it out at this moment, but yeah, there is an original Barndoor dome light, the one with the switch on it. So that came today. So that's kind of fun. Kind of felt like Christmas. So yeah, that is what happened on this beauty today. So let's see what happened on this beauty. Before I get to this one, I will mention that the white 65 Beetle, the glass finally came in from Koch's, and so I pulled out the passenger door, which had a pretty big scratch, kind of like right here, and glued the new window to the lift channel. Gonna let that dry overnight, and then in the morning I'll put that window in. Again, I'm talking about the white 65 Beetle. And put that back together. And then I just need to test drive the car and make sure it's running well and stuff. I did rebuild the carburetor on that car and a few little minor things like that to it. So I want to make sure it's running great and reliable. And that one will probably be gone tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to try and do a walk around of the white 65. Again, this is one that was restored at Lenny's shop, West Coast Classic Restorations, maybe like 4 years ago. So I'll do a walk around of that car. It's very beautiful and really nice car. Pleasure to drive and just look at. So anyway, I worked on that for a little while this morning, and then I got on with this one. And if you follow the channel, you'll know I've been working on the wiring, and I think it's done now, other than like replacing a few zip ties, or at least eliminating them. Then I think it's pretty much done. So the dome light switch is wired in here. The semaphore switch is wired in here. Added a ground there for the dome light switch. Added the grounds, so like right there for the headlights and city lights. I think that was it. I don't remember. I think I connected that yesterday, so I didn't do that today. But yeah, just kind of the last few sort of dangling wire things, pretty much finished those up today. Now, one thing I had noticed with this car, and so you'll notice the gas tank is out, is I noticed there was no wire coming out of the steering shaft. And as you probably, if you've worked on these cars before, there's a wire that comes right through the steering shaft that's part of the horn circuit. And on these early cars, well, let me just show you, easier than explaining it. So the horn circuit on the early cars is a little goofy. So basically, you get a ground down. So this is the steering box side. You get a ground down here from the steering box, a little like say jumper that goes across the rubber coupling over here to transfer ground from the steering box, which again is here, to the shaft here. So this whole thing is grounded. And then the way these work is that there's supposed to be this like sleeve on here, and you can see how it's got paper under it. So this sleeve is isolated from the steering shaft itself. And you may notice there's a wire attached to this sleeve, and then that wire is what comes out the end of this steering wheel here. I just have it tucked in there, but yeah, there you go. So this is what connects to the like the horn button. And so what happens when you push the horn button is it essentially it grounds this wire out onto the steering shaft, which basically connects this to ground. So at that point, this and the ground on the shaft itself are connected. They're one and the same. And then on the steering column tube, there's a little spring-loaded brush that rubs against this so that it continues to make contact even as the car is steered. And then that little brush in turn has the wire that runs right to the horn itself to complete the ground. So the horn has 12 volts supplied all the time, or when the key's on, depending on the year of car. And then you're basically completing the circuit by connecting the ground. So on these, it's got this kind of weird thing. Anyway, so I guess whoever had done the zinc plating for this car, I don't know what they did, but this little sleeve was just like flopping around on the shaft. And there was no wire or anything connected to it. So this car would have been impossible to hook the horn up, essentially, at least using the correct wiring with the little brush and stuff. So I went ahead and pulled out the steering shaft, which, by the way, was surprisingly a pain in the butt. The flange that goes on this, the kind of T-shaped deal that connects to the coupler, I mean, it was so rusted in there, which I don't understand because this has all been like zinc plated. But that thing I was there with like a torch and stuff, heating it up and spraying penetrant and stuff and hammering it. Finally, I got it out, obviously. But this can't come out with that big T stuck on the end because it's got to pull out through the steering column tube. Anyway, so once I finally got that apart, kind of assessed the situation here, and I decided to repair this and basically make it, as sort of factory looking as I could. And so this collar here had a lot of pitting on it. I did run it over the belt sander some, but again, it has a brush rubbing on it. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And it is kind of smoother now than it looks. But basically what I did was I just took some brown paper, which is basically what they had on them, and I folded it over and I made a couple wraps around the shaft here to get the proper thickness between the collar and the shaft here. And then I glued the paper insulator on the shaft first using a few dabs of super glue. And then I pretty much slid this over it, which is like a really good tight fit. And then as you can kind of see, put some dabs of super glue around it on both sides, so those would kind of wick in there. So this thing is not going anywhere now. And then I soldered a wire on it and passed it through here. So that's it. This horn circuit will work just like factory now, just like intended. Usually this thing, a lot of people have trouble with this, and over the years, the paper in there will kind of degrade or whatever, and then this collar and the shaft will just be making contact all the time, and so the horn will just honk all the time if it's connected. So I haven't repaired one of these before, but I'm actually kind of enjoyed going through the process, and now I'm pretty comfortable if I get another car that's got this either not on here or loose or whatever, that I know now how to kind of go in and put a new isolator on it and even make it look fairly factory for that matter. I mean, of course you can't see this, it's all hidden inside of a tube, but little details like that still make me happy that this looks fairly factory with the kind of paper insulator and stuff like that in there. So anyway, sorry that was a bit long-winded, but I kind of had fun with that project, honestly, and now it's going to work as good as new. So that's what we like around here. So I think that is basically what I did on this car today. So let me back up for a second. So I get a lot of questions about this gas tank. I have no idea how they made this gas tank look like this and whether that's on purpose. I'm very bewildered. I'm as bewildered by it as all of you guys. But it's painted, but I don't know what is causing this texture. It almost feels like it's like rubberized somehow. I really don't know, and I'm not super thrilled with how it looks, needless to say. So I may talk to the owner, and these tanks are available. So Wolfsburg West actually makes really nice reproductions of these humpback tanks. I may, come up with an estimate to the owner and see like, hey, we can buy a tank for, X amount. And he does, I believe he has access to a paint booth. Like, dude, let us buy you a new tank, or he can buy it himself. I don't even care. And then if he has the paint and a booth, like, please spray another one. Because when you pop open the hood of this car, which is otherwise a gorgeous car, that's all anyone's going to see is this super weird looking tank. So yeah, I need to talk to him about that. Hopefully he's willing to fix that. If not, then that's cool. But yeah, I hope he says, yeah, let's fix it, because this is a really nice trunk and it's going to look great. And that is totally going to distract from it. So there you go. So with that, let me just end by thanking a couple of our YouTube folks here, John B and Tom V, for buying some merch here in the last day or so. And thanks to everyone else who's bought merchandise there. The store is chugging along at an okay pace. Our channel is pretty small. We're not expecting to be selling like $1 million worth of merch ever. In between now and the rest of time, we will not sell that much, but we do appreciate every purchase, of course, and it's cool to get our logo and stuff like that out there, and hope you guys like the looks of what we're offering so far. And I did mention we're going to be making a bunch more variations of the logo that instead of having the motor in them have like a Barndoor bus or a split window Beetle or a low light Ghia, etc. So we're gonna have a bunch of versions of this. This is like the official version of the shop, but I think for merchandise, it's gonna be really cool to have ones that, you know, represent a lot of the different cars that we work on, you know, buses and bugs and maybe even a buggy and low light Ghias and stuff like that. So, and I will make announcements and hopefully have samples of those when they become available. So just keep your eyes out. So that's it for today, everyone. Appreciate you guys watching. Again, thanks for everyone who's been supporting the merchandise store. Thanks for all of you that make comments on the channel and thumbs up us and all that good stuff. Love you guys. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye.